US drone program that has been used against Al-Qaeda and Taliban operatives in several countries has been a source of controversy for some time now. Well, it's been revealed that the CIA has been operating a secret airbase for unmanned drones in Saudi Arabia for the past 2 years. The base was used to target members of Al-Qaeda based in neighbouring Yemen. The US media had known of its existence but hadn't reported it until now. Our security correspondent Gordon Carrera has the story.
America's once top-secret drone campaign is slowly emerging into the open. Today, a new revelation from the American media that drones like these have been operating for years out of a secret base in Saudi Arabia. Their target is members of this group, Al-Qaeda, in the Arabian Peninsula, based in neighbouring Yemen, and which Saudi Arabia has long been working with the US to fight, partly because many of its members come from Saudi. The pace of drone strikes against the group has been growing rapidly in recent years. American officials said the first time the CIA used the Saudi base was to kill this man, Anwar al-Awlaki, in September 2011. That killing remains controversial since Awlaki was a US citizen. Supporters say strikes like this have seriously damaged Al-Qaeda's ability to plan attacks. But critics say they're of questionable legality and that they cause too many civilian casualties and alienate local populations. Tomorrow, John Brennan will have to answer questions before Congress in his confirmation hearing for CIA director. The legality and effectiveness of drone strikes is likely to be high on the agenda, especially after a memo was leaked outlining the legal arguments in favour of strikes. Yesterday, the White House defended the policy.
We have acknowledged, the United States, that sometimes we use remotely piloted aircraft to conduct targeted strikes against specific Al-Qaeda terrorists in order to prevent attacks on the United States and to save American lives. We conduct those strikes because they are necessary to mitigate ongoing actual threats, to stop plots, prevent future attacks, and again, save American lives. These strikes are legal. They are ethical and they are wise.
The revelation that there's been a secret base in Saudi Arabia may mean some of the difficult questions about the operations of drones will be raised not just in Washington, but also in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. Gordon Carrera, BBC News.
Well, Professor Christopher Swift from Georgetown University has travelled extensively in Yemen to assess the effects of drone strikes on the people and communities there. Does he think it's quite extraordinary that the existence of the CIA base in Saudi Arabia has only now just come to light?
It is extraordinary, although if you look at where the strikes have been in Yemen, in central and southern Yemen, from an operational standpoint, it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. It's very difficult to reach these regions, and Saudi Arabia is, from a practical standpoint, the best place to have such a base.
So you knew about a bit about this base, did you, when you were conducting your studies in Yemen?
I think it is widely known, but not widely discussed, that the Saudis have played a role in U.S. operations in Yemen. It's also worth noting that Alona Craig from the Times of London about a week and a half ago broke the story that the Saudi Air Force is also participating in strikes on Al-Qaeda and Ansar al-Sharia targets in southern Yemen. So again, there's been this pattern of collaboration between the United States and Saudi Arabia, and I might say also with the Yemeni government in dealing with this particular threat.
So when you were going around Yemen, I mean, we know that these drones, wherever they take place, can often lead to a great deal of anger amongst the communities there. But what kind of things were you picking up that people were telling you?
Well, there are two phenomena that we need to distinguish in Yemen, and it's very important to draw this distinction. When I went to Yemen, I assumed that drone strikes were helping Al-Qaeda recruit the local population. But when I went out into the field and started interviewing tribal leaders and others that had direct interface with Al-Qaeda, in some cases were actually fighting Al-Qaeda in their own villages, I came back with a much more nuanced view. And the view is that the Arab Spring generation, by and large, hates the drone strikes. They hate the U.S. presence in their country. It's a cause of major political concern there. But if you actually look at what's bringing people into the Al-Qaeda and Ansar al-Sharia insurgency, it's predominantly economic factors. It's the ecological crisis, it's a lack of water, it's remote rural regions that have very, very few calories available to people every day, and where people are doing essentially what they need to do in order to take care of their children and replace some of these patronage networks that have broken down over the space of the last decade in Yemen.
Professor Christopher Swift there from Washington.